Captain's Log Supplemental.
Hey Jeremy, you know those race cars you're busy building?
Yeah, I do. I
You,
got one that I'm looking at every day.
you know what I don't see you working on?
You don't see me working on the amazing Sentinel system yet.
That's true. It would take all of 10 minutes for you to have one.
And it's very quick and easy to install.
It is. It is. And we could watch you when we are not at the race with you and see how you're doing. And then we can call you up when you get out of the car and tell you everything you did wrong.
And I love that because so many years I've been driving and not been able to see what I'm doing.
I know.
And now we can.
I know. You know what I'd like to do with the video? My most favorite thing is I take the video and I load it on YouTube, and then I send it to my coach and say, look at 26 minutes and 17 seconds. Look at this one lap and tell me what I can do better. And every single time, you know what they say?
Everything.
Exactly. Precisely. So with the Sentinel system, you get instantaneous feedback plus useful feedback that unfortunately is accurate for my driving.
I think it's accurate for all of our driving.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's probably true. Yep. But you need to get one in your car, sir.
Yes, I do. And with the discount code that you're going to tell everybody, they can save 10% on this awesome system.
Yep. Trouble-free. I haven't had an issue getting video every time we've gone out with the Sentinel. It's always worked. Can't say the same for some of the other systems we've tried. So I don't know. It's on the podcast notes down there. Don't do it while you're driving, though. We like to have our listeners live. It's good.
From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher, and their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicky Fisher, and our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Skripchuk. Their mission: to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team.
Thank you. That's exactly where I'm at.
Well, no,
Life
he
is
no.
all out there doing stuff.
You are not in the exact same place. He has yet to curse me out once about racing.
That's funny.
Welcome to the Garage Heroes and Training Podcast. I'm going to be one of the hosts for this episode. My name is Bill. Who else is hosting?
I'm Vicky.
Miss Vicky.
Yeah.
We have a guest.
Yes.
This guest has a B-Spec car.
Mm-hmm.
This guest is from the Secret Car Club of America. I mean, the Sports Car Club of America.
Yeah.
He's here to talk to us about what I like to call the Lord of the Rings series of racing. One car to rule them all.
Okay.
And as I continue this, I am very concerned because before we started this episode, it did not ask how to spell how to pronounce his last name, but I'm going to go for it. I know I can get the first name. First name Blair. Last name Deffenbaugh.
That's pretty close.
Yeah.
Pretty close. Deffenbaugh.
Deffenbaugh.
Bah. I feel like a
Bah.
ball. You know what I mean?
Bah. Got it. I'm there. So guess who's on? I guess you heard his voice. How you doing, sir?
That's right.
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
We're doing well.
I consider every episode a victory once I get done with the Bill Wings and intro section. So I'm in glory from now on. Life is good. You know, Blair, we just met a little while ago, but one of the things you'll know very quickly is I don't do the intros because I'm good at them. I do them because I'm the only one willing to do them. So what did I miss?
Because there's nobody else is a really good reason for doing things. And I find myself doing a lot of things because of that reason.
That's how I get most of my stuff done. Well, who's going to do this?
Because there's nobody else.
Nobody else is doing it. Yeah. These things don't edit themselves.
That's true. That's so true. It'd be a lot easier if they did.
It would be so much easier. So much easier.
Yeah.
So, what did I miss on your background? Like, yeah, obviously with this SCCA
Hmm.
involved with, see, now we had Hayward on long, long ago about this, like in the planning stages, and at
Hmm.
that time it was called Club Spec TT cars, but
Okay.
but I think you changed the name.
We did change the name.
Yeah.
It's just Club Spec now. SCCA
Okay.
Club Spec. I'm actually interested to hear that it was called Club Spec TT because that sounds
It was way back.
well, it's not what it is now.
I know.
Not
Well,
what it is now at all.
well, that's okay. So before we get into the fun-filled, frolicking Lord of the Rings racing series that you guys have come up with,
Yeah.
how'd you get started in racing?
Oh, oh boy. How much time do you have?
I got a lot. I have a lot of
Uh,
tape in this computer, so don't you
What,
worry.
what, Vicky doesn't sound so sure about
We
time we have.
we have gone over 3 hours, so you take your time, sir.
So the quickest possible version here is my dad got in trouble for driving on the street fast often. And at some point somebody told him he should go take it to the track because it's not safe on the streets. And
They could have told him other
Wise
things to do.
words.
it could have been a lot better than it or it could have been a lot worse than it was. That's true. So somewhere about the mid 80s, he got into SCCA, he got hooked up with some people, and through a shop that he was working in at the time, um, got hooked up with some SCCA folks and did some crewing, and then borrowed a car and went to school at Road Atlanta. In '88, he built an ITS 240Z, and it was kind of that. It was all history after that.
Hmm.
I wish we
I
knew these
grew.
people. Where are these
Say what?
people? If we knew people like that when we started, we might actually be good by now.
Yeah.
It's a different base to stand on, that's for sure.
It is for sure. Like,
Um, so yeah, I grew up at the racetrack. My brother and I was a family, whole family affair. My mom was there. My dad, my brother and I would all go to the track um, as often as the shop would allow. And
Ooh.
I worked for SCCA in a few different iterations, actually. I started with the track night program, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you know, oof, it's been a lot of stuff kind of in and out for quite a long time. I guess the shortest possible version again is I grown up in the club. I've basically never known anything else, which I'm
Mm-hmm.
told is a really great way to grow up, is just not only know one thing and then everything's great from there, right?
it works. It's one of the ways. There's many ways.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's how I got started. Um we've raced, I'm an IT racer from the start. We've had a few different IT cars, and eventually I decided that I really wanted to go. I've spent a lot of time as a kid watching the runoffs every single year. The first one that I went to was the 2005 runoffs at Mid-Ohio, the last year they were at Mid-Ohio.
Oh wow.
And I can remember as a kid watching the runoffs was everything when it was on YouTube, where however I could watch it, I was watching it. Tapes afterwards. My dad had a stack of tapes that I would watch. It was my favorite thing to look at as a kid. And I decided I just really, really needed to be there. So then I got into B Spec probably 3 years ago at this point.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
well, your
And I
summary has made me do this to you. I'm sorry. I apologize now,
oh
but here it is. That was our
oh Lord, we're sharing a screen.
B
Oh,
spec car.
oh.
Oh, this I know this car, you guys.
I know. See, it's kind of
I
our tribute to Tom's little track night in America car. Only that was the
Yes.
one lap of America tracks for the season. We were going to first try to do it.
Yes,
Yeah, that's
that is fantastic. Wow, I love this.
yeah.
Man.
Anyway,
Uh I actually have so just super quickly, as a racer, you need, I don't know, however many sets of wheels you can store,
hmm
whatever you can get them. You can
all of
get
them,
all of the wheels, whatever you got.
all of them.
Um
All of them, he says.
one one of my sets of wheels that I've been using for reigns um has Tomo 94 written on the outside of the
Mm-hmm.
barrel. under like where the tire seals,
Mhm.
Tom 154. And so those are my rain wheels because if you're racing in the rain, you got to have that little bit of mojo, you know?
Hmm. Hmm.
And I figure whatever Tomo had, I'll take as much
Yeah.
as I.
Yeah. When and then you get a little bit of the tire whisperer that is known as the person who was working with Tomo at the time. So, you're not doing too bad with
Sure.
either choice there. Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Future
So,
podcast guest. He just doesn't know it yet, but that's fine.
So, what are you driving now?
I've got a 2010 Honda Fit.
Oh, okay.
It's purple and teal. I should have been smart like you, Bill, if I could have a picture quickly.
I can do that. I can let me see if I have to allow you to share, which I think I might. No, that's not what I want. What are you doing?
Oh, show 'em my car.
I will. Hold on. Share
Let's do
options.
this. Can I just do this? Yeah. Pop it in the chat.
Oh. We have to figure out how to do chat. This is an excellent podcast so far for everybody who can't see what we're doing.
The big edit right in the middle.
So apparently, I'm going to be they're throwing video up there. So when Vicky says, "Hey, you can edit that," oh, I know your car too. Very nice. But when Vicky says, "Hey, edit that out," I'm going to be like, "No," because it's all video, and I don't do video edit. So because I know the limits of my skills, and they're not very high. That's fine.
There's nothing better than listening to silence. You gotta let the listeners gain their get their bearings about what we're talking about.
That's right. As the old podcast joke is like we don't care if you listen. We just want you to download. That's actually not true because that would imply that we're getting any type of financial benefit from you listening. We're here to help. Whatever we
You're
can
gonna have
do.
a good time.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
So
excellent. So we have a shared Honda Fit collection. Well, I've been divesting myself of Honda Fits recently, but that's okay. I can always go back into that poll. That's fine.
I'm working about as fast as I can to expand my collection by way of other people. I don't know if you know this, but spending other people's money in racing is probably the best way to go racing.
So much easier.
So
It's
if
so
I
much
can
easier.
get
You are
all,
not wrong.
if I can get all my buddies to buy second gen Honda Fits,
Mhm.
we're in a golden place. It's great.
It's ideal almost. I think the one of the things I'm really good at is buying cars. One of the things I'm not really good at is fixing cars. And one of the things I'm horrible at is selling cars.
Selling cars.
So our car, um, I guess fleet is probably the best way to put it. It got a little unwieldy for a little bit, so we're trimming back just a smidge. It's fine.
Pretty likely story, Bill.
Yeah. Well, I didn't say it was permanently. I just said, it's just it's in a slope down, a gentle slope down at this point.
It's the way to be.
Otherwise, Miss Vicky is going to make me permanently sleep in the bathtub as opposed to just after a podcast, she can make me sleep in the bathtub. So your dad started you off in SCCA, and then you just came by it naturally because it's in the jeans now, or the pantsuit or whatever.
It's kind of shorts and flip-flops mostly.
Flip flops, okay.
Or Crocs in the winter. It's kind of yeah, it's I grew up at the track. I was on the board of the North Carolina Region Board of Directors for 10 years collectively, thereabouts.
Wow.
It's just it is a thing that the family got involved in and kind of never left. I actually owe SCCA quite a bit generally outside of the paycheck that I currently collect.
I was going to say your dues are not fully paid for. Is this a problem here?
It opened a lot of doors for me, both in the way of friendships, in the way of other careers. Like it's kind of been a lot in general. Has done a lot for me in general, being a member and being an active member and stuff. I do have the bragging rights of I for little after my 30th birthday, I got my 30-year pin, 30-year membership pin.
Wow.
And so however many years I've been here, don't ask me how many it is right now, but however many years I've been here, I can't do math very quickly,
Hmm.
is the number of years I've been a member. And I really I like it's a good party trick to pull out, you know.
Hmm. Yeah.
When I'm
Mhm.
35, I'll have my 35-year pin and I'll carry it around with me.
At least you can keep track every 5 years how old you are.
It's a good marker that way.
Hmm.
It's a good marker that way.
Everybody makes fun of me because they're always like, "How old are you?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Hold on, let me figure it out." And they're like, "Why don't you know this?" I'm like, "It changes all the
It changes
time, like
almost
every
every year.
year.
Yeah,
It's
almost every
amazing."
year.
I know. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at
Mhm.
that.
So
Look what racing did for him. It opened doors. When what
Doors,
racing's
lots of doors.
the only
lots of
thing
doors.
racing has done for me is open doors for people to say you should go that way. It's a
Oh.
whole different.
Um, are you familiar with OSB?
Yes, yes. Unfortunately, I am.
Okay. Not that anyone said that to you.
Not that I know of, but it's yeah. All the construction people are going, what's oriented strand board got to do with this? Anyway,
No, other
that's
sports
not
becking.
that's not it. But
No, a little bit different.
no, I
But
don't like my fellow instructors who use that. But you know,
yeah, it's not a thing I've ever said.
no.
Anyway,
I've had a couple students. I was like, Oof, this is gonna be a long weekend, but it's
maybe
okay.
maybe we
No,
should look at something different. Maybe we
yeah,
should talk about
perhaps
it.
perhaps
No.
your choice in vehicle could have been a little
hmm
better,
hmm
a little
hmm
bit better. Okay, all right. So
My dad has a, sorry, just real
no,
quick. My dad had a story. Everything we've ever done has been on a shoestring budget.
hmm
And so my dad had a story with an instructor in the car at Road Atlanta going through his competition school. The instructor was telling him, the car's got to be over there. You got to put the car there. You got to put the car there. And he's lap after lap and it's not really working. He can't really get it over there. And the instructor goes, the car's got to be over there. You need to get down low. You need to get over there. The car has to be there. He's not able to do it, not able to do it. Car's got to get down there. It's not going to be good. You have to be down there. It's not working. And so eventually my dad goes, hey man, you drive the thing. If you can put the car there, then I'll go home right now. Just you drive the thing. And the instructor came back and goes, okay, I see. We need to buy some tires, is the first thing that we should do. And
tires would be good.
funny enough, back when I first started instructing, I've done a lot of autocrossing as well. Um, when I first started instructing, I had a student who I kept saying, you gotta turn in. You have to turn in. You can't be behind. You can't be behind. You can't be behind. And he kind of went, hey, do you want to drive? Do you want to drive the car? Why don't you take it out and make a run in it? I said, okay, yeah, absolutely. I got out and went, you're right. We should buy some tires. The car's not gonna get over there. It's just not gonna work. I think you should go buy some tires before your next event.
Yeah. I like the ones where it's like you're going around and they're like, well, is there anything else you could improve? I'm like, well, on that session, I could see the apex from where we were. That was an improvement from the last few times we've been out there. Usually it was in a different time zone. We were at least in the same zip code now, but we're working on it. It's fine.
Mhm.
It's a plus.
Unbelievable.
It's good to go.
So, what are some of the goals that you have going forward with your racing? Anything you want to accomplish? You're still working on?
For me personally, winning the runoffs is a dream. I've been
Well,
able
that little thing.
I just thought
I just want to be
uh
champion of the world. No problem.
I've been lucky enough to win a super tour or two. I've been on the podium for a couple, which wasn't a goal directly of mine, but that was the thing that I've always thought about. And even just yeah, just being able to go to the runoffs and drive well enough to be in the top half was absolutely incredible. And like I said, as a kid, the runoffs is what I was watching. That's what I always looked at. That's what I always looked forward to at the end of the year is the runoffs. And so to go out and win the runoffs would be um, a dream, be an absolute dream.
I love that.
Don't everybody roll their eyes at once, you know?
I just,
Yeah.
that's lofty. That's
It's
a
lofty. It's big time lofty. But aim high and you'll land somewhere in between,
I mean, if
probably.
if it wasn't for all these aliens out there that learned how to drive a car, apparently
I
through their
know. I
God,
know. Man, oof. Yeah, I've had the experience. I've watched him drive away and go, I don't know if we're driving the same car.
Doesn't look like it.
I don't think I can do that.
Does-
Whatever you're doing, I can't do.
I know what your telemetry said you did in my car, and I know what I do in my car,
Mhm.
and they don't look like we're in the same type of car. Never mind the same car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know graphs looked like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's what I've always thought about, what I've always looked for.
Good one. Well, I mean, you've got some time left. You can go for it. I mean, the only way I'm winning runoffs is if I come up with my own series, my own class of cars, and
Call it runoff.
I'm first place, second place, and third place all at the same time. I am my own podium. So so, but that doesn't mean I don't want to improve every time. Doesn't mean that.
Slow improvements are key.
Exactly. Inch by
A little bit
inch.
at a time.
Inch by inch. Every
Yeah.
When you were hopping on the track, what do you tell yourself? I mean, what are the words to live by when you're racing?
Oh, that is a good question. What do I think about? Um,
Or even what do you encourage when, somebody's on the track that is new?
mhm, mhm.
or
Words
even
to live
thinking about
by.
it.
Yeah. Coming in new, I mean, a pretty classic drive your own race. Stick to
Yeah.
what you're doing. Don't worry about what they're doing. Be predictable.
Mhm.
Um, and also there's a note of even some of my friends who are wanting to get to the national side from regional racing, they want to go to the national side of things.
Mhm.
It really is a different world. It honestly is a different place to be.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And be prepared to get real humble real quick. The first my first super tour was Road Atlanta, and there were some super fast guys in that group. And when we rolled out of grid, I had been racing at that point for a number of years. I was no stranger to the racetrack at all. And we got out there and I don't know if you're familiar with Road Atlanta, but
Yep.
we topped turn 3, and I looked down the hill and went, "Oh, so we're going. We're really doing it. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, great." And I spent the rest of the session just trying to like have some semblance of keeping up.
Mhm.
Um, but the conversation that I have with myself often is kind of the results are going to be what the results are going to be. What matters is, well, quite a prevalent thought for both of us, I'm sure, is whatever you do to this car, you have to fix later. So, keep that in mind whenever you're out there doing it. There's nobody else who's going to come and fix this thing. It's going to be you.
Especially at Road Atlanta.
Especially at Road Atlanta. Knock on wood. Um, but yeah, so the conversation I have with myself a lot is drive your own race. The results are going to be what the results are going to be. And chances are, if you try to force it through, it's not going to end very well. So focus on yourself, focus on your driving in your race.
So let's see. How do we do this? So there I was
Mhm.
working in the middle of my umpteenth Zoom meeting of the day,
Mhm.
and I get a text message with you copied on it from Hayward. Hayward's like, "Hey, would you like to talk to?" And I think I wrote yes before I read the rest of it. So the bar to get on this podcast is pretty low. I mean, when Hayward says, "Would you like to talk to?" or "You should talk to," I say yes. I agree. That's great. And one of the things we offer all our guests, and just so you're aware of the level of expertise that we're expecting from you, all guests are now honorary podcast producers. So if you think of somebody who we should talk to, let us know. It's fine.
Oh, okay,
So,
great. Yeah,
so,
yeah.
so it turned out after saying yes and read what he actually said, you are somehow involved with Club Spec, and there's been changes. Like we did a pre Club Spec launch episode with Hayward, and it sounded really cool. And it sounded like something I was going to buy a car for. And then Miss Vicky yelled at me again, said, "No more
Oh,
cars."
Miss
And
Vicky.
I know she's like the car curtailer on our end because otherwise we might run out of room because Pennsylvania is not that big. There's not that much room
Yeah.
for cars. So when last we checked in,
Yeah.
there were NC Miatas and S197 Mustangs that were about to go roundy round in not very good circles, I must say. Most of the racetracks aren't very good circles, but
Horrible circles.
that was where they were going with other things TBD. So with that as the foundation for the introduction and assuming that we know very little more, which with our podcast, it's probably
Very little
really,
more.
really good assumption. We don't know. We don't what it's something. It's it says wing and intro / transition. So I'm winging here. Don't get in the way. The wings are flying right now. So with all the skill that I possess as a longtime podcast host, help me get me out of this. Help me.
Well, to start with, I do really well with low expectations. That's really
Exactly.
good for me to exist. I love that for us.
100%.
There have been some changes in Club Spec. It sounds like when you guys talked about it, it was more of an idea than it was a thing. And since that time, I have no idea when that podcast was, but since that time, we have had a number of events with a bunch of cars participate. We had a Club Spec demo day at Solo Nationals this year where a lot of Club Spec owners, both on the Mustang side and on the Miata side, let us borrow their cars. And if you were at Solo Nationals, you could come in and over on the practice course, you could come in and jump into a Club Spec car and go give it a test drive. And they were all member owned cars. It was a super, super fun event. It was really cool to see. We had I think we had seven Mustangs, maybe 10 Mustangs and 4 or 5 Miatas. It was super cool. We had lines everywhere you go. Take your helmet and go stand next to the car you want to drive and wait in line for your turn. Go off, give it a rip, come back and let somebody else give it a shot. It was a good time.
That sounds like fun. We
Yeah.
we refer to some of our HPD exercises when we bring a bunch of cars with a bunch of friends. Sometimes we call it the buffet, and we try to get everybody to get the Chinese buffet menu item, and hopefully not.
We're all running around in each other's cars.
Pretty much.
That's a super fun time. Something that I have to come
It's
back
a
and talk
fun
about
time.
at some point is race experience. We had a similar thing with that. It's a low barrier. We'll talk about it later. Race experience. It's on SCCA.com. It's super fun. But we did that where I let a friend use my car, and we had 3 or 4 other folks on the ground with cars, and we just swap them out, jump in the other one. I'll go out in yours, you go out in that one. We'll when we get done, we'll swatch them out and go out in the next way. It was super fun. It was a really good time.
Always a good time. So I work probably 1 air mile from Planet Miata.
Okay.
So we know them very well, and one of our early podcast guests, coincidentally, was Sam Strano. So
great.
so we were talking to him like we didn't know what autocross was, so we were talking to him like, what's an autocross and what are these orange things on the ground, and then it turns out like 3 or 4 months later, we actually realized who Sam Strano is. Whoopsie. Whoops. Not kind of went with the 101 questions to a guy who's like grad school level, maybe
Yeah. You gotta
postdoc.
start somewhere, right?
Yeah, see, the great thing is we didn't know racing at all when we started this thing. So when people said, "Hey, you should have blah 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 on," we're like, "Oh, okay, sure."
Okay, great.
Who's this Andretti guy? Does he drive? Is he good? So you'd be surprised the quality of people I've asked to come on this podcast that have yet to respond. But it's fine. It's good. Mario, we know who you are now. You can come on anytime. Anyway, so you have an NC Miata crew and you've got an S197 crew. Rumor had at the time of I think we did 2 of these podcasts. Rumor was you were thinking about Cayman Boxsters.
We were. We might still be.
Might still be.
The future of Club Spec as far as adding more classes is a little fuzzy. As racers, we are spending a lot of our time going, "Ooh, that'd be cool. Ooh, that'd be cool. Ooh, that'd be cool." At some point, you got to write rules for all this stuff, and so we're not quite
How am I
prepared for it just yet.
how am I supposed to buy all these cars if you don't give me races to place with them?
Hey
No,
now.
I
Hey
know,
now.
I know.
Whoops.
Listen, I'm spending some of my time on the side, as an SCCA member, not as an employee, but as an SCCA member, lobbying to have a Club Spec fit.
That
So,
would be fantastic.
whatever you're interested in, really.
Hmm?
But
I mean,
yeah, so we don't know yet if there will be more classes. Right now, we're starting off obviously the S197 Mustang 06-ish. If you don't know the chassis code exactly, it's the 06-ish Mustang. It was the first sort of throwback reboot that Ford did.
mhm.
Um, it's a great car. They're affordable. They're not hard to find. They're kind of everywhere. Parts are easy to source. The NC Miata is a Miata, so they are also everywhere and affordable and not hard to find. Um,
Hmm.
and so we wanted to start with those two cars based on a price point. And really the key for both classes, we worked with Strano on the Mustang. He knows Mustangs really well. And we worked with Mazda on the NC because well, I don't know if you know it, but they made it. Mazda made the NC, so they know quite a lot about them.
Oh, we're breaking news, Miss Vicky.
I know.
Oh yeah.
Exclusive, as they say.
Oh, it's
Um,
exclusive.
but
Nice.
we worked with those two groups to kind of put together a package that would be relatively easy to install. Some garage heroes in a weekend could build one of these cars. But
Not not
also
not all garage heroes, so trust me.
so
Not all.
some maybe not the ones in training, but the other ones.
Yeah, the ones in training may need some
Um,
help.
but also not, you can build it in pieces if you want to. That was the key for these is there's nothing wild happening, there's nothing crazy going on. They're pretty basic bolt-ons, and that was key for us is to be easy to get into, easy to digest, and whatever you're doing to the car is not going to take it off the street as a daily drive.
Hmm.
For people who don't live in spacious places like Pennsylvania,
Mm.
uh, one car may be all that they can really have. And if you want to do that, well, the Club Spec cars are a pretty good option for that.
So when last we spoke, just trying to keep up with the in case people actually listened to the earlier episode and we want to transition them to. So we were talking about 200 treadwear.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. The
And go ahead.
Sorry, the Mustang is on a Goodyear, and the Miata is on a Falcon. As the Club Spec guy, I'm not required to know a lot of this stuff,
Okay. You're
The
just here to
knowing how
look
the cars are
just here to
built.
look
You look
pretty.
pretty.
Yeah, that's all. That's all. Yeah, I got a face for podcasts, is what I'm told. So,
That's
the role.
that's my role on this team is I'm just here to look pretty. Vicky's the mechanical person, so it's fine.
Uh,
So
so yeah,
if I remember right, you had a few things you could do, but it wasn't required that you do all of them.
correct.
Okay.
Correct. So the deal here, and I keep saying when I'm talking to people, I keep saying coilover. I do understand that for the Mustang, for you, for the sneaky listeners, I do know the Mustang is not really a coilover, but that's how I think about it in my mind. Is it's shocks and springs
Hmm.
is what you're allowed. There's a couple of sway bars involved. There's a little bit of brakes involved, but it's a simple build out. And one way to think about both of these cars is you guys know as racers, reading the rule book is next to impossible. You're getting into it.
Your book is kind of thick, sir.
It's not thin.
No,
Well, it's thin.
I hit print when I just downloaded it the first time. And I was just like, oh no,
That
oh
was a
no,
mistake.
oh this is not
That was a
good.
mistake. Yeah, the Control F is a
Yeah,
big time winner for
man,
for that book for
I
sure.
unplugged that printer as fast as I could. Please stop.
So the book is hard to look at. Knowing what you want and what the outcome is going to be is super, super hard, especially for people who are not like we talked about. I've grown up doing this. This is all I've ever really been involved in.
Hmm.
Um, some of these things are really hard to understand, and it's hard to really know what the outcome of solid aluminum bushings is going to do to the car. It's
Yep.
not going to be fun, and I know that because I've driven it. If you don't know that, then you might not really understand what it's like. And so one way that you can think about Club Spec is It's a recipe. It is a build sheet recipe to a car at the end is going to be perfectly daily drivable. Um, and it's going to be fun to drive, and it's not really going to break the bank
Right.
for you to put it together, for you to buy it or put it together. No special skills necessary, really. Put your parts on, get it aligned, and you're ready to roll. That's one of the keys to Club Spec.
Okay. And then safety improvement requirements for this level.
So that depends on what discipline you want to drive in, what kind of motorsports you want to do.
Oh, we
Obviously,
added stuff because it was only time trials when we did it.
that's right. So that is so the two sort of main takeaways from Club Spec are one, the cars are not terribly hard to find, no special skills needed to modify them. The parts list is fairly basic, extensive in some ways, but fairly basic. The second part is Club Spec goes throughout SCCA. Um, Obviously, autocross has its set of classes, road racing has its set time trial. Cars don't bridge those gaps very well. Club Spec does. It's specifically built to you can autocross it, you can put it on track for track night, you can do time trials, you can even take it hill climbing if that's what you want to do.
Oh, you're
It
crossing off all
does
my questions now.
do
Okay.
I know?
You're crossing off all my questions. Okay.
Oh,
I'm not.
How
I'm
about
rarely efficient, but you might
wheel
get
to
it there.
wheel? Can we wheel to wheel yet?
It's not wheel to wheel yet. It's not wheel to wheel yet. Wheel to wheel offers, I'm going to say offer and not present, offers a lot of complications
Mm-hmm.
mhm,
with building a cross discipline car. What you want to do with a car dictates the level of safety that you should put in it, that you're required to put in it.
Right.
You can go autocrossing, no roll bar, nothing at all, pop a helmet on your head, go racing. That's all there is to it. If you want to go into time trials, putting on track, roll bar is recommended.
mhm.
And if I have it correct, all this is that if you are interested in learning more that I'm not remembering off the top of my head, scca.com/clubspec is where all this stuff is stored, all the information is stored.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the 1,000-page book. It's much smaller than that. You scroll once or twice and you're at the bottom. You're done.
Oh,
Um, if you want to go to and do hill climb, then safety starts to really be required. You have to have the proper seat, belts, harness, or roll bar, stuff like that.
mm-hmm.
Mhm.
But for the bulk of it, it's not required.
Awesome. Okay. Well, it's grown quite a bit then because we were time trial only at the time, and I don't even think autocross was thinking about, but not fully there yet.
It's turned out to be you can design programs and classes and things all you want to.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, you just have to launch it and hope that it works, hope that it comes out the way that you want it to, whether you like it or not.
That sounds like
Um,
every one of our cars at every race we go to, seemingly.
That just sounds like every freaking Monday.
yeah, it drives out and you just got to cross your fingers and hope for the best. Um,
Give it a run. See what happens.
but it's really turned into a pretty cool community. There's a really active Facebook group for Club Spec. People are sharing cars. People are sharing quote unquote donor cars.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I don't know anything about this, but there's a Mustang for $3,500. Kind of high mileage, but throw a couple $100 worth of control arms at it, and you're kind of off the races at that point. So the conversations like that are happening quite a bit. Um, and we've got people. I don't know if you've done much autocrossing. I don't know what your autocross history is like.
Not extensive. We've done 2 or 3 Evo schools, things like that. We haven't actually ever. Vicky says we've autocrossed, but I don't think Evo school is technically autocrossing yet because while there was a clock, it wasn't exactly like we were going to beat Mr. King or any of his fellow friends there when they went out in our car. So it was kind of
Sure. The the when you're standing on grid at a club with your Club Spec compatriots, it's a different way to be. It's a different feeling. These people are hanging out. These people are easygoing, and that's kind of what we were looking for with Club Spec. Club Spec, we have seen it. You mentioned Mike King. Uh, Club Spec has brought some of these diehard, super hardcore drivers back into the fold because you know what it's like. You're constantly fiddling with the car. You've got, oh, it's a whole extra car, and I don't want to put the miles, so I have to have a truck and trailer, and now I've got essentially 3 vehicles I'm having to maintain. It's like this whole thing I think it's really exhausting. And we've actually seen some folks come back to SCCA because they looked at Club Spec and went, "Well, that's great. I'll go and do that autocross, and the next weekend I'm gonna go do a hill climb because that's what's close to me. That's what I can go do. I've always wanted to try this out. Let me go try
Mm-hmm.
it." And so that is a big hope that we had for Club Spec is to bring people in, whether they're hardcore folks who got out of it because it's just so much work trying to
Mm-hmm.
maintain a wild car, and also be really easy and approachable for someone who is not quite so hardcore, more casual, as they say.
Yeah. Well, we definitely didn't know it, like we were talking about before we started. We did not know what we were doing, and some people who listen still think that way. But that's so fine.
Sure.
Yeah. So how did the year go?
Sorry.
This, how did
How
this
did your
year?
year go?
How did my year go? It was great.
Hmm.
I drove actually the club SCCA built a Club Spec Miata. Obviously, we have a really deep partnership with Mazda. And also we're a bunch of racers, so we want to have a car to drive whenever we go wherever we're going. And so the club bought and built an NC Miata, and a coworker of mine, John Krolowitz, and myself drove the Miata at Solo Nationals, and we both trophied for, well, it was my first time
Nice.
trophying for sure, and I think JK won, which was incredible because neither of us had seen the car before then. But
Hmm.
that's also, I mean, at some point it's a Miata. It's going to
Yeah.
take care of you. You just go and throw it around a little bit, and it'll tell you what it needs,
They
and
are
you kind
fun
of
to
get
drive.
there. Say what now? Oh, they're so it's so fun to drive.
Yeah.
It's such a fun time. At the demo at the demo day, I was talking about. I got the chance to drive. Obviously, I drove the Miata, but I got to drive. I got the chance to drive a couple of Mustangs, and I I enjoy a compliant car when they're leaning around a lot. There's
Hmm.
a lot of weight transfer to manage, and it's kind of fun. And
Hmm.
I really found that in the Mustang is it leans some, it kind of dives under braking, it leans back under acceleration. The
It's
car is
predictable.
it's
It's,
really
it
yeah,
reminds you of like it sounds like when you were, driving like when you're a kid and all those
Mhm.
sensations that you feel from
Yes,
like a
yes,
smaller version of it.
yes. Feeling it move around, like the car
Yeah,
is,
like a
is
roller
really dynamic
coaster,
and
like
doing
what you
stuff.
see.
Yes, yeah. One of my favorite cars of motocross, I had a 96 Miata actually. Excuse me, and I it was bone stock right down to the tires and fairly high mileage. I put that car on an autocross course, and I had so much because it felt like I was going to rub the door handles off the thing on the pavement because it's leaning so hard in every corner. It was
Mm.
super fun to drive. It was super dynamic, and I found that in the Mustang. What I have kind of been saying is the Mustang is probably a better street car because it's a little bit bigger, more space inside. It's got a respectable trunk, stuff like that. You can carry stuff around with it. But it's a really dynamic car to drive because it leans and it moves around, and you're going to get your weight transfer practice in that way. It's a super fun car to drive. Where on the side of the Miata, it's very agile. It feels super light, and it feels a lot more weaponized in a way.
Hmm.
It's tight. It's pointing. It's going where you're telling it to go. It is for different reasons. Also, a really fun car to drive. It was a great time.
No.
Awesome. So did we miss anything that changed since way back in the prehistoric days of like 2 years ago?
Uh, Boy, 2 years ago sure is a long time ago. Um,
I mean, we were still in the plague then, so it was
yeah,
way backs.
yeah, that was the before times.
Exactly.
Um, the idea of Club Spec is a lot more solid than it used to be. We're seeing a lot more participation as well. We're seeing, on average, probably 10 of each show up to national events, which is incredible to me, knowing what it's like to put a car together. It's kind of amazing that people have built them so quickly. Um, like I said, we're seeing about probably an average of 10 show up to national autocross events. There's always a handful of them at any of the uh, time trials events.
Mhm.
Regional regional events have also taken off with them. There's always a handful at regional events that we're hearing about. Um,
Hmm.
so I would say that in the last 2 years, so what has changed, the idea of Club Spec has become a lot more solid, and people are really starting to get into it, putting together cars, they're buying parts, they're talking about what should we be doing, what are alignment specs, some stuff like that. And if you are looking for more information, it's either scca.com/club spec, or you go to the Club Spec Facebook page.
Right.
Um, there's so much information there. People are sharing stuff. They're sharing, like I said, cars for sale. They're popping them up and going, "Hey, if you want one, here's a cheap one I found near me." It's a cool community. It's really fun.
That sounds awesome. So,
Yeah,
so you've got, as far as I'm not fully fluent in SCCA jargon, so
sure. Sure. There's a lot of
person person born in the womb, you're going to have to correct me as I get this wrong. You've got
Hmm.
the local events.
Yeah.
So you've got Club Spec for autocross and Club Spec time trials.
Mhm.
Same thing for the majors.
So the majors, the class Club Spec as a class isn't wheel to wheel yet.
Okay.
We're not going road racing yet, and so things like anything road racing tagged is not going to have Club Spec in it. So majors, super tours,
But national, there's one. Yes.
yeah. I did say national. Did I? What I meant was an autocross program. So
Okay.
there is a national autocross program,
Isn't there
and
a time trial too in SCCA, or
yeah,
am I
yeah. Oh yeah.
confused?
No, no, no. You got it. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So SCCA has. I mean, not to be the super company guy, but SCCA has a program for you. Whatever you're looking to do, SCCA can have you.
But
But there's a national time trials program. Your local SCCA region also likely has a time trials program. Um, and same with autocross. There is a national autocross series, and your local region probably has an autocross program of their own as well.
okay. But Blair, I'm looking to have fun with cars. Is there any place that I could go to where fun with cars could be kind of like the goal?
I SCCA.com. Whatever you need
Really?
there.
Wow.
Yeah,
Right.
SCCA.com. All of it is there. If you want to know about Club Spec, SCCA.com/Club Spec. If you want to know about our road racing, there's a menu for that, Bill.
I
Program.
know.
Yeah.
And there's a book.
SCCA.com, click on programs and scroll down till you see something that catches your fancy.
So we had a request of Hayward, which we're gonna
Okay.
see if he did any work for us, which I can guarantee he was not able to do what I needed him to do. I
That's my
want
gamble.
a Rosetta Stone that would actually allow me to figure out what I have versus where it would fit. And it's like it's like hieroglyphs, trying to coming in from the outside. It's like, okay,
Sure, sure, sure.
we got we got STTRITA Part B subsection 2 superscript WTF. And I'm sitting there going, huh?
Bill, so there's actually a really simple solution for this.
Okay.
There is a solution.
Simple enough for me.
Yeah, oh yeah, 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 absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Sure,
That's going
for
to be
sure.
pretty simple.
Um, be born in it.
Ah, all right.
That's
I'm working on that now. Let me see
that's
what I
your
can do.
solution.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm almost there.
that's your uh it's you're right. What you're calling out is a thing that we talk about a lot internally uh as an organization. How do we make this easier to look at? How do we make this easier to read? Um there are some things coming down the pipeline that I can't say a whole lot about.
Oh, that's what
And
Hayward said last time. We're
it's
calling BS on this. Just say it. Just
and
say it.
how long ago did you have Hayward on?
Well, he didn't answer either, but we just keep pushing for it.
In another 2 years, I'll come back and say the same thing. Is that good for you?
That sounds right. That sounds about
Okay.
right. We
No,
already broke news on this episode already, so we're good.
that's true. We did. You've already got an exclusive or two.
That's right.
But yeah, it's a tough thing. The best thing to do, I think, is get involved in the community.
Hmm.
I will, and I say this because I have silenced multiple chats on my phone. I will talk forever about the classic structure and what goes where.
Uh-huh.
It's probably my favorite topic. I will go for hours and hours and hours on what you could do to your car, what you should do to your car, where it could go, where you want it to go. Actually, where you think you want to go, it's not where you want to be. You want to be over here instead. I will talk for hours about that. Um, I do know that it's kind of a tough thing to look at, but really get involved in the community. Talk to someone. There's always going to be somebody like me around to who's willing to talk your ear off.
So that'll be part two for you is we're going to actually take you up on your offer and say, okay,
Yeah.
let's just pretend. Here's something that we've come, well, the royal we, me, myself, and I, the three of us, have this idea. Here's the idea. For endurance racing, we have things called ambassadors that, first time teams will partner up with a team that's been doing this for a while to kind of get them through and usher them in, whether it's formal or informal. How about, and it's the off season, we can talk about this. How about the SCCA has something similar where for the first event of your season or the first event of your trial with the trial is a bad word to put it, but your first attempt to go to SCCA for an event, is there a checkbox we could have that says, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm coming with this car and we can put me wherever you say it fits because I can't figure it out. That would be the box that I would use because I can't figure it out. My small brain, big mouth, small brain.
Well, small brains and big books
Mm.
have trouble. Run into each other quite a bit.
And goes through lots of ink on their printer.
Right.
Yeah. Just an idea.
Golly, Bill, I like the way that you think. I think it's a great idea. That is a thing that I've said in the past to a number of people, and we have stood up. I don't know if you're actually asking the question, but I'm going to tell you anyway, because like I said, I'll talk for hours about this. We have stood up a couple of programs to try and kind of bridge that gap to get where you're talking about for the Super Tour and well, primarily for the Super Tour and absolutely for the runoffs. We have an ambassador. It's not an ambassador program. It's a I don't know what the word is. Like a guidance counselor of sorts.
Archaeologist.
Yeah, sure. Where as someone new to the runoffs, we give you someone who's been in the runoffs a whole bunch of times, and they will help you through the entire process. We have a driver liaison program for Super Tours for any national road race as well that will help speak on the driver's behalf, help them kind of learn what they're trying to learn. But most importantly for me in what I'm looking at is we have a new program. It was in its first year this year. It was called Race Experience. I mentioned it earlier in this podcast. We can do a whole episode on Race Experience alone.
Episode 3.
Episode 3. Race Experience. We're hoping to have a lot more events next year. For starters, it's held at regional events. So they're low key, they're easy to get to, they're super low pressure. And we have on-track coaches as well as event leads who they're used to dealing with new people, folks who haven't been here a lot or are returning, haven't been here in a while, whatever the case may be. And it's such a fun time. One of the things I love about the track night program is it's so hands-on. You have driver briefings after every single session. I think that is so important, especially for new people. The Race Experience is bringing track night to road racing in that way.
Yeah.
We have briefings after every single track session. I was one of the on-track coaches. Like I said, I drove 4 different cars for the weekend. It was an incredible time. You get out of the car, you pop your helmet off, run over to the driver's meeting, and you debrief. You talk about what you saw, what you would like to see more of, what you would like to see less of, whatever is happening. You're talking about it. And having that face-to-face connection is super important for racers. And 2, that sort of, it really opens the door to ask any question that you might have. Doesn't matter. Whatever question you got, ask the thing, because everybody standing around is probably asking the same question. And so through programs like that, we're trying to bridge that gap.
So there was these people, they didn't know what they were doing. They started a podcast like after their second race, before their third race, and chronicled everything since then. I hear they're still doing this podcast thing. They're whack jobs.
Number of episodes deep now.
Number several hundreds. It's been a while. So they were looking originally they were sitting there saying, "Hey, we should go autocross." So we went. I mean, they went to the the site, and all they could find was this thing called Solo, which they weren't ready to drive alone by themselves on track yet. They were looking for autocross to do that. So they didn't do that. So they became NASA people because they could understand. Like, I've heard of people who don't know what ST and TT means because it's not really written there. You kind of got to know. And if you don't know, you don't know. And the biggest thing that we see is either people don't think they can get on track. That's not possible for a normal human being. Or if you can get them there one time, you get them there 1,000 times and their bank account is decimated. It's fine. Don't worry about that part.
Great place to be.
But if they don't know what an ST versus a TT is, never mind the 14 different digits that come after that, they won't start. And that's kind of what we're trying to do. And we're not criticizing you in any way. We're actually just trying to have fun and make fun of you at your expense, but that's fine. It's with the same thing of trying to grow the sport and have fun with our cars. And that's what we see, because you know what the GHiT 649/75/21 in 1971 was these kind of cars, but it's been changed to these kind of cars now. You know that, but if somebody doesn't come in knowing that, they sit there and go, what?
Yes. That's true. That is a thing that happens. That is a conversation that I have is
Oh, you got support from this side. You just send them our way. We'll just keep beating on SC. One at a time. We're going to go to everybody who's on the SCCA, and we're going to eventually get you guys to understand that we don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about?
We'll break it all the way down, and we'll start with IT improved touring. We'll go all the way up through T1 through 4 touring. We'll go into super touring, STL, STU, and production. We'll go through E-Prod, F-Prod, H-Prod, and figure it all out together. This will be I'll draw you a map.
You are not prodding me, sir. But if you had a map, I know a website for this podcast that these people started. They would put that there just to say, listen, this isn't going to get you exactly where you need to be, but at least you're in the right family, the right phylum, maybe subphylum.
To your point, when we were discussing how to launch Race Experience, one of the things we talked about is how to do classing. And your options are make up a new set of classes.
No, we know you can do that.
Don't we do that well? Don't we? A lot of classes, a lot of stuff out there. Keep it under 4 digits. That's what we're looking for.
4 digits? Or close to the end then.
Or adopt one of the programs in. Okay, so any one program we get, looking at like 28 classes minimum. And so what we did, we said, actually, you know what? Class does not matter. We'll make 5 classes-ish. CRE 1 through 5, Club Race Experience, CRE, or maybe it was RE 1 through 5. They should get somebody who knows what they're talking about on this podcast next time.
Well, it's not like you have any other acronyms in this. So.
Race Experience 1 through 5 is the classing, and it's way less. Don't even worry about the class. You bring me a safe car with a cage and an up-to-date helmet and fire suit, and I will figure out how to get you on track. And that is one of the keys to the Race Experience program. Is it does not matter. Do not worry about that right now. We will figure that out later. The only limitation we put on it is you can't be faster. Brace yourself. You can't be faster than a T1 car, which is Touring 1, which is going to be
have no fear.
Middleweight Viper, light Corvette, high horsepower Mustang, things like that. That's T1 speed that we're talking about. Can't be faster than that. Keep it slower than that. Bring me a car that is safe, and I actually really need you to finish the weekend. If you can get through a session and the car is safe, we will figure out how to get you on track. Don't worry about the classes. That will come later. We will figure that out with you as we move through the weekend.
Yeah, I think that's the other hang up that we get is that some of the people are very competitive and they want to do this and they want to do this well, and they get overly concerned about, well, I'm not going to win my first weekend. And I'm like sitting there going, that is the least of your problem.
No, nobody's
You're not going to win your first bunch of weekends, actually.
Yeah, but I drive a lot of miles during the week, and I'm like, this is bad.
One of the things that Bill says when we're at a race, and sometimes we have it like a newer driver, this is her first time getting on track, and he just always says, he goes, and remember, if we wanted to win, we would have brought a different car and different drivers. So go out and have a good time.
It's true.
That is
That's what we do.
that
We
is real
break
life.
in new drivers to endurance racing.
that is very real life. One of my favorites is, hey, whatever you're thinking about, whatever you think matters, just about guarantee you it doesn't. Doesn't matter. Whatever you're thinking is incorrect. Just go drive the car. That's it. That's all. Just go drive the car, drive your race, run what you are doing. Don't worry about everybody else. We'll talk when you get back.
Mhm.
That's right.
That's it. All we're looking for.
And take it from me, I'm not insulting you in any way whatsoever, but no, you are not God's gift to driving. And
That's
you are not
You are
naturally
not.
good at this.
that is a that's a that's a conversation that you have. That is a conversation that you have.
Mhm.
You well, call back my first super tour at Road Atlanta. I've been doing it for a while. I'd been driving for 6, 7 years at that point through a bunch of different non-competitive cars, like whatever was happening, just give me the keys, I'll drive it. I don't really care. And I got out there and was like, oh my God, you guys are racing. Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't, okay, I misunderstood. I know what's happening now. Didn't know what was happening before.
Yeah. I was in a little lake and you guys are in a big ocean.
Right.
That's right. I might have been in a puddle. You never know. It was definitely whatever that was. It is not what this is. Yeah,
Perspective is everything, Bill.
exactly. We had the one of the jokes. We talked to a few people from Good Life every now and then, and one of my goals, like bucket list goals, was to finish kind of mid pack in GLTC.
Mhm.
And damn, if that pack doesn't just keep going faster and faster, I'm like, my mid pack goal back then would be DFL right now. And they just keep getting better and more
That's
aliens. God.
that's actually a conversation I find myself having a lot as well. Is I knew a guy, just offhand example, I knew a guy who had a third gen RX-7 and he wanted to LS swap it. And the car sat in his garage for 2 or 3 years, basically untouched, because he needed to get the heads on to there was an LS1, I think it was. He needed to have the cam, needed to have the heads. He needed to get the rotating assembly together. Like he needed to do all the stuff. And at some point, the conversation became, look, dude, that car is going to put 300 horsepower to the wheels, 400 horsepower to the wheels. That's going to scare the crap out of you.
Yeah, that's not
Just
the problem that's slowing you down.
put the engine in the car and drive it, because it's not. I can almost promise you, you do not want to go as fast as you think you do.
Uh-uh.
I can just about guarantee you that. And it's best to start slow. Start in something in smaller, slower, cheaper. I mean, you know what B-spec operating costs are like. I know. There are a lot of people around me, and what I catch crap for a lot is operating costs for the B-spec car.
Hmm.
$200 set of pads is half a season, probably. If you like don't do that many races, you'll get a whole season out of a single set of pads, and it costs you $200. And the response is $200 doesn't get me through the weekend.
Yeah, that's not even one
That's not
tire.
that's not what we want. We want to get through the weekend on less money. That's the goal.
Yeah,
Is spend less, learn now, figure the rest out later.
I I I can tell you, you can get through an entire season with one of those, uh, with a certain brake pad. We'll talk later. It's fine.
Ooh,
A season
I
is
need to know
nothing.
that. I
Season
need
is
to know that.
nothing. I'm thinking you can do multiples. Anyway, so
Yeah.
what did we miss? What did we not cover that we needed to talk about for Club Spec? Because don't think you're getting away from us this easily. We have stupid questions that we need to ask right after this because you seem like the perfect kind of guest for us to do some of our.
I love stupid questions.
Oh,
I'm
we
all about
have we have 60 of them at this point, and they grow with
Oh
time.
boy.
So
Actually, I think I hear my wife is coming home now.
I didn't say you were going to get them all because you're going to be
Oh,
back. We've already got 3 episodes scheduled with
that's
you.
true. We do have 3 episodes on the docket. That's true.
That's right. And we haven't even
What did we
started
miss
the
for
one
clubs?
about stories about Hayward. We haven't even done that episode yet, so we got time.
Ooh, good gracious.
That could be a two-parter.
We might have to sign an NDA for that.
That's fine.
Sometime.
I'll sign anything.
We can
I
do
just
that.
don't know whose name I'll put on it, but it'll be signed.
What did we miss for Club Spec? I think that we covered the bulk of it. Again, the takeaways are it's a simple car. There are simple cars both to find and build, but also to live with. There are no crazy modifications allowed that are going to ruin the car for daily purpose.
Right.
Um, Hayward did one lap of America in a Club Spec Mustang with its owner. And the only thing the owner did for the whole week was change the oil and put a bucket seat in it.
Mhm.
That was it. They
And they
bolted the wheels on the car and drove away.
did pretty good. I mean,
They did pretty good, right?
considering the cars that went to that particular year's one lap were, a couple of them were overdogs.
I
you know,
can't do that math, but it's more than 3 times, I
yeah,
think.
easily. And so, and
Uh,
the thing that we like about it is if you don't know what you're doing,
yes,
speaking from our perspective, if
sure.
you get this kind of car, it tells you exactly what to do, and it's not that hard, and it doesn't cost that much. And you can legitimately then be able to compare yourself against the other drivers and say, well, it truly is that I am not God's gift to driving. It's the cars are the same, yet somehow I am 8 seconds behind.
Uh-huh.
It's not because they found the secret, 94 octane gas. It's you.
That's right. And that
Yeah.
highlights that's a parallel for me between B spec and Club spec actually.
Exactly.
Is I can afford to put this car together myself. I can do that and I can run it. And on the other side, I've got a pretty good idea of where I stand as a driver. And that
Mhm.
was a really big deal for me. Um, I'd driven a bunch of different things in not super competitive classes, and the cars weren't generally competitive either. And so the chance to get into a B spec car where I could put it together, make it right, do the things that I know, and then go out and directly compare myself to other drivers, that was a huge deal. And so that's what Club Spec offers you is starting with the simplicity of the car. The parts list is at the bottom of each car page that we've got set up. If you go to SCCA.com and click the programs dropdown, Club Spec is number 1. Click that, and you're taken to a page that literally has a picture of a Mustang and a picture of a Miata. Click on the one you're interested in. There's some information there as to what year range you should be looking for, what trim model you should be looking for. And at the bottom is a parts list with part numbers and where to buy them. And
Yeah.
so
And it's not a big list.
it's not a really big list. And it can be done over time. You can, if you want to do the coilover, keep saying coilover. If you want to do the suspension kit now,
Mhm.
do the rest later, get the tune done later. Whatever it is, you can do all that stuff in pieces, however you're comfortable, whatever your budget is. It can be done over the course. There's a car that's right now. There's a Mustang here in the Southeast that is probably halfway done, and they started at the beginning of the year. So at the end of next year, they'll have a fully built, ready to roll car that they've been driving on a daily basis the whole time, and it's
Right.
and not hurting themselves do it. Sometimes I don't know if you've had this conversation, but sometimes you'll run into somebody who goes, "Oh, well, I daily drive that," and you stick your head in the car and you go, "I'd rather walk, I think, than drive this car because it
Yeah.
hard bushings, no interior, the AC is gone, the
Yeah.
power." That's not what we're talking about. It's a simple car, full interior. It's all still there. AC still works. Power steering still works. It's a totally normal person car.
Yeah. We have friends on the West Coast who I pick on all the time because they insist on driving their caged car.
No,
Not good, guys.
nope,
Anyway,
not a fan. Not a fan.
no, I've seen too many things. So we lovingly call this the non-IP infringing version of the Fast and Furious Storytime questions. All
Mhm.
all lowercase, no capitals at
No
all.
caps. Okay.
No
Sure.
caps. And Vicky likes to say this is how we get to know a little bit about you and learn a little bit more because our interviewing skills not the best. So with these mere 60 questions, by the time we finish this, sir, we will know everything that no one wanted to know about you.
Nobody wanted to know. Nobody asked.
That's right. Nobody asked. Nobody cares, but we still ask the question. Why? Because no one else will. Miss Vicky, you want to go first?
Yeah, my favorite question. What was your first car and what was the worst car you ever owned?
Uh-oh. Um, these two questions might coincide,
They
actually.
Yep.
they often do.
They
Often do,
do.
right? I said that my dad owned a shop in
Mhm.
just outside of Raleigh, North Carolina. Um, a 1987 Honda Prelude DX
Hmm.
Oh,
came in.
that's the good one.
Is it?
No, no,
He's shaking his head. No. Yeah. Okay.
no, it's not.
In 1987, Bill
Yes.
was the last year of the carbureted car. The SI of the same year was fuel injected, and this car had a 1.8-liter dual side draft carbureted uh, motor in
Collect
it.
collector's item.
God, total collector's item. If you can figure out the 6.5 miles of vacuum lines, you were
Hmm.
golden. That's everything you needed. That was my
Check.
first car. Somebody did not like the carburetor rebuild um, price and just left the car there. And through many, many months of uh, really painful mechanics lean, we got the car, sat for quite a few years until I came along and said, I want that one. Let's put that one together. So my dad and I, funny enough, it was easiest to remove the carburetors by just taking the head off the car and taking the whole mess over to the workbench and then disassemble it while it was on the workbench. And
Hmm.
so we took apart the carbs, put it back, cleaned it all up, put a rebuild kit in, put it back together, and that was my first car. And I do still love that car very deeply. But that's probably the worst car I've ever had. It
Hmm.
not a whiff of air conditioning, not a hope of air conditioning.
Hmm.
The blower motor, the fan, would blow full blast no matter what you did, unless you took a spade terminal and jammed it into the switch to push it down to break the connection. And when you wanted heat or whatever, you just pull that spade terminal off, throw it in the cup holder, and that's what you had.
See,
That's what you got.
silly. You didn't realize the car was turbocharged. They just put the turbo in the wrong spot.
You're right. In the wrong area.
That's right. It's just a couple pieces of plumbing away from a turbo. All right, let's see. So much easier. Let's do one of my faves. What is the coolest car ever?
Oh, the coolest car ever.
No pressure. You can change every time you come on. Don't worry about it. Don't feel pressure.
It'll be a different one every time I show up.
That's fine.
This is akin to if you could have any car,
Oh,
what
that's
would it?
later. We got that later. Don't worry.
Oh, that's also later?
Oh, we have 60 questions, dude.
Okay.
We got you
All right.
covered
So
for the rest of your life if you ever came on that many
I
times.
think I think the coolest car ever for me is a Datsun, I'm gonna say S30. Any of the early 240Z, 260Z, early body 280Z.
Hmm.
Um, my dad, that's the car I grew up watching my dad race, a 71 240Z.
Oh, wow.
And it had a blue and white zebra paint job on it. Well, no, when I was a kid, it didn't, but later in life, I got the super cool blue and white zebra paint job on it. And that car is what did everything for me.
Okay.
Watching my dad climb out of that car was the whole thing for me as a kid. So 240Z or any of the early body S30s were really good.
Okay. See, nobody's going to know this stuff about you without these questions.
That's true.
What is that car that got away?
Oh, there's two, Vicky. There's two cars. Two cars that got away. Um, Similar to my Prelude, a car was abandoned at the shop because they didn't want to do head gaskets. They didn't want to pay for the head gasket.
So it's not a Subaru.
A 99 Subaru RS in blue with gold wheels.
Oh, nice.
What an absolute looker that car was. And they didn't want to pay for the head gaskets. It's a big job, obviously.
We do it
That
all the
car,
time. How hard can it be?
that car, golly, that car is beautiful. I really love that car. That car started a Subaru thing for me, actually. And what happened was everybody in the shop was super keen to get that car. And the key was let's just get the title and figure it out later. It was abandoned. It sat there for many, many, many months. Lost of contact, whatever. We go through the whole mechanics lien. We start the whole mechanics lien process. And one day out of the blue, a tow truck shows up and says, we're here for that blue Subaru out there. And we call somebody up. We call up the owner again and say, because we called them a dozen times before, they said, yeah, they picked up for the first time in about a year. And they said, yep, I'm actually going to give it to the neighbor kid. So we're just going to let him have it. And everybody's heart broke at once because the car is gone. It's disappeared. That was car number one. Car number two was a 80 or a 91 EF Civic that had been motor swapped. It was a close family friend had that car. We did the motor swap on it, and it was a super cool car. And that one got away because I just didn't have the money. I had just done head gasket on the Prelude, and I just couldn't scrape together the $1,500 that the guy was gonna give me a sweetheart deal on. Just couldn't scrape it together, and that car disappeared too. Think
Okay.
about those two a lot.
So sad.
Yeah.
All right. What is your car number and why?
The head scratcher. Um,
You're supposed to know
do I
these
get to quiz
answers.
you guys? Can
You
I
can you
like
can do
turn it
anything
around?
you can do anything you want. It's your podcast.
Everything I want is a podcast guest. Okay, great. My car number is 87.
Okay.
Any guesses?
I'm guessing that's how many years you've been an SCCA member
Was
or
that the year
something.
you graduated?
No, no, it's the year of my first car.
Oh,
Mhm.
nice.
I was standing in line at my local autocross waiting to
Mhm.
register because they didn't have online registration at the time. And I'm standing in line and I was prepared for everything. I looked the car over, I nut and bolted everything like you're supposed to, fresh oil change, I had everything put together. And when I got there, the nice lady said, "What's your car number?" And I went, "Ah, well, I hadn't considered that." And I thought really long and hard about that and went, 87. 87. The car's made in 87. Give me 87. And
Okay.
that's where we've been since.
And do your cars have names?
My cars have had names. The Prelude was named Maria. I had a 96 Subaru Outback. It was named Mackenzie. Um, my Miata was named the Canadian.
Because that's where they come from. I mean, I know that.
The guy, I got a crazy deal on that car because there was a kid moving to Canada and it had sat. Everybody was really afraid of some rust on the rocker panel. I wasn't because I was going to flog the thing anyway. And he was moving to Canada in 3 days. And so he gave me a really good deal on that car. And so her name was the Canadian.
There you go.
This one here has
Yeah.
been has been called. So I now have a 99 Miata, which is copper and white,
Yeah.
and it has been called Nemo and the Duracell, not by me.
I like Nemo. It's cute.
So they've named the car. People have named the car without me, and
I love that.
that's what Planet Miata calls it.
Is
And it's been
Duracell
translated across.
throughout. I love that. I like that. Yeah. That's other people naming your cars. Sometimes it's the only way you get it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So
There's only
how?
two of us. It goes.
I
It,
know,
it goes.
right?
Just. It goes. It's. I know it's
Yeah.
the math. The math
I
is
got
hard.
excited. I got excited about my car. All right. What is your most memorable car breakdown on a road or track?
Ooh.
We already talked about ours.
Did you get the toe of shame?
I have I have had a toe of shame.
One, dude. You need to come with us. We'll take care of that. That's called Friday.
Oh no, I've only mentioned one.
Oh,
Bill.
okay.
I've
Okay.
only
All right.
mentioned one.
Okay. All right. I was just making sure.
A thing. Here's another exclusive for you. I
Breaking
don't
news. Breaking
know
news.
that a lot of the people that I've met later in life know this about me. Um, remembering to put gas in the car,
They go farther with gas, and just in general.
really tough. Really, very, very hard for me. And it started with my street cars. Uh, I've always gotten fantastic fuel mileage, and so because I've driven small, cheap, crappy cars. Um, but boy, when you get that good of gas mileage, you kind of forget about how stuff works sometimes.
Mhm.
And truth be told, I drove a 280Z in high school for a little while that did not have a working gas gauge. So it was kind of you're guessing and picking, trying to decide how long you could go. And also when you don't have any money, it's kind of tough to visit a gas station often. Um, I've I've run out of gas a number of times. My friends printed up a cartoon of a cat rubbing his stomach and pointing at a food bowl. He's hungry. He's a hungry cat.
Hmm.
And they snuck that onto my gas door. And so that is a sticker that's on the car. Um, I think to relate to your experience, we were driving my dad and I, he has there's a Burgundy 72 240Z in
Mhm.
the fleet. And we had revived it one day. We'd fiddled with it all day to get it back running again. And we went for a test drive. And I was too young to really be paying a lot of attention. I heard a noise, the car jarred a little bit, and I'll never forget my dad kind of going, "Oh." And I look out the windshield and there bounces the left front wheel. Ka-doom,
Mhm.
ka-doom, ka-doom down the road.
Ooh.
And it set down the nose, and he gets it wrangled off to the side, and we go hunting for this wheel. And the conversation that we had together, standing on top of the train tracks, looking down into an abyss of vegetation, was, well, we can't replace that wheel, so we have to go down there and find it. I I don't know where it is, but there's a hole in the vegetation right there. We have to go down there and find that wheel because it's irreplaceable. And so we hiked down this hill next to a train track looking for this wheel and tire that had flown off the car.
Yeah, I knew exactly where mine was. It was next to the hissing gas line. Episode 68 for those playing home game. All right. For people who have the years of experience in the SCCA membership that you have, I love asking this question. Are you familiar with the claw game?
The claw game, yeah. The
Okay. Yep. What car that you've raced against or raced against in the past would you want to
Mm.
pull the driver out, plop yourself in, and what track?
And what put myself into their car?
Yeah.
Oh,
You
ooh,
always wanted you always wanted a piece of this car. Like I want to know what that is to drive.
that's not where I thought you were going with that.
It's fine.
Oh,
We never
no,
go the straight way. That's why we're road racers.
that is
Otherwise, we'd be
very,
drag racers.
Hmm?
that is so interesting. What what would that be? Wow, that is a great question. I thought you were going to say what car would I want cleared out of the way because I just don't want to look at them anymore. I
Nope.
thought that's where you were going.
Well, if you're driving it, you're not looking at it. Think of it
It's
that way.
true. That's true. I think it's a great question. I think as close as I can get,
It can change next time you come on. I mean, it's
it
part of
will.
the
It
part of the
will. I've got
advantage.
two in mind.
All right,
Um,
you can drive two cars at the same time. It's fine.
eh,
They're different classes, I'm sure, in the SCCA because everybody's in a different class.
I hope nobody above me in the organization, which is literally everyone, listens to this.
But don't worry, nobody listens to it.
Um, okay, so driving that blue and white zebra stripe 240Z that I was talking about,
Hmm.
um, it used to be the ITS car to have improved touring S. S is a speed rating, improved touring is a category. Um, it used to be the ITS car to have. Everybody who was winning had a 240Z. At some point, the second generation RX-7 came in, started dominating. The Z kind of fell by the wayside. And at some point, the NC Miata came in as well, kind of did the same thing. And then also here in the Southeast, we had two guys build a couple of V6 Mustangs, actually. Absolutely dominated. They did a really good job building both cars. They were very competent drivers. They had a heck of a good program. They were really, really fast cars. I was in the Z, we had revived it. Um, One of the last things we did to that car was build a proper motor for it. And so we were making really, really good horsepower for the class. Suspension package was non-functional, essentially. So we had a ton of horsepower in a straight line. It handled great in a straight line. One of these guys, the Mustangs, had a really bad start, and I got through them and gapped them a little bit on the start. And from that point forward, I'm looking in the rearview mirror, and they're just every lap, closer, 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 closer. Clearly, nothing I can do to keep them from passing me unless we got on the straightaway. And we were at VIR. We left Oak Tree kind of together, and he had a great exit and pulled up behind, got next to, and then started to pull out in front of me when the horsepower really kicked on for the Z. And I pulled him even and then slowly dragged him back in little by little. And when we got to the brakes, it was as if we lived in different realities. He took off. We both stepped on the brakes ish. He probably didn't step on the brakes yet. And he, whoosh, I mean, gapped me by like 3 or 4 car lengths in a single braking zone. And I kind of went, okay, all right, we're not even on the same racetrack. This is not. If I could be plopped into that car in that moment and see exactly what he was doing, I would like to be there. I would like to see what that car was.
Awesome. Okay. Miss Vicky.
So, what is your favorite track and favorite turn so far?
Um, I've done Roebling Road, Carolina Motorsports Park, VIR, Road Atlanta, Mid Ohio, um, Rockingham Motor Speedway. I think I think Road Atlanta is probably my favorite track right
Mhm.
now. A beautiful racetrack. Absolutely. Just an outstanding place to be. Oh, and Atlanta Motorsports Park is super fun as well. Um, I think Road Atlanta is my favorite track right now, and my favorite corner is probably turn 5.
Okay.
You've gone down the hill,
Yep.
you're climbing up just a little bit. It gets
Big old
really hectic.
big old curb on the right there.
Big old curb over there, and you really don't want to be on the far side of the curb when you rejoin the track. You just don't want to be there.
Found that out. It was 33 degrees and raining, and I found that out
Yes.
real fast.
Yes. I think that's probably my favorite. There's a lot of really great corners here in the Southeast. I think Carolina Motorsports Park is a wonderful place to learn to drive a racetrack. I think it's a great place. Um, but turn 5 at Road Atlanta, it's super hectic. My car does not like to be on curbs like that, so you gotta thread a little bit, stay off the curbs, and quick brush the brake, maybe a little bit of downshift, and then take off and really hope that you've done it right because once you turn in, there's really not a lot you can do about it.
Okay. All right. Obviously, being a racing podcast, we ask the hard-hitting questions and stay on topic every time. What was your favorite cereal growing up? Or now, if you're like me, they haven't changed.
Favorite cereal?
Yeah. More sugar the better, baby.
That is so random.
It's number 48.
Number 48, Vicky.
I think we should just edit
Don't
that.
don't don't make me, but I am not editing anymore, so that's off the rules.
It's Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch, very nice, very nice. All right, I feel closer to you now.
It's a good one.
All right, very well.
All right, last one.
Last one for you.
What is something that nobody knows about you that will surprise them?
Can I say racing? Do people know that?
Well, we kind of did the intro that said you did it, so that didn't surprise them.
Um, Something that people don't know about me. What do people not know about me? I'm a fairly open book in a lot of
Oh,
ways.
geez, how many open books have
Any
we had?
hobbies nobody knows about?
Any super secret skills? Any I broke my leg jumping off of Mount Everest stories that
I've
whatever.
actually never broken. Maybe that's one. I've never broken a limb.
Oh, I've got you covered then, man. I got all
I've
of
never
them.
broken a limb. I like RC cars. I don't know if a
Okay.
lot of people know that.
All right, very
I
well.
like RC cars.
When that car popped up from your screen and it was a Z, I was not surprised. Just thought I'd let you know.
Well, I mean, also from an earlier story.
Oh, there you go. Okay. All right, very well. All right. So we're gonna have you on some more, so I should save some of the good ones. Let's do Jennifer's favorite one. What's your favorite car movie or car from a movie of all time?
Oh, favorite car movie? Oh man. Um, I'm so bad at these.
We
You
asked the
didn't ask
hard-hitting
me.
questions.
Yeah,
All right.
you didn't ask me yet. We'll ask it another one of the two that we've got planned out. What if I could build one car?
I have that.
What would it be? My response to that when you ask it is going to be a 10 car garage. So I'm obscenely bad at these kinds of questions. I
That's fine.
really love Cars, the movie, actually.
Okay.
I think Cars, the movie is so fun. I think it's a really, really good movie. As far as comedy goes, but if you know what, how about this?
You can have more than one, you know.
I really enjoy the early Fast and Furious movies.
Okay.
I think Tokyo Drift is certainly my top three favorite car movies for sure. And the original Gone in 60 Seconds is pretty close up there as well.
Okay. All right. Then we need to ask you one more just for bonus time.
Let's have it.
All
Give
right.
it to me.
The question that we ask because no one else will ask. Jeremy, Hammond, May, Chris, Matt, other?
Other? What do you mean?
There's a whole bunch of them. I mean, there's other people. Could be other. You can make your own.
Who's my favorite?
Yeah.
Chris is really good.
Chris, it's really good.
Um,
It depends which Chris. There were two.
there were two. I'm trying to think of his last name. Um,
Harris.
yes, Harris. Chris Harris is really good. Um, how about Dax Shepard?
Oh, you went US. Okay. Very nice. Very nice.
I
Awesome.
prefer from the OG is going to be Hammond for me for sure. But if for the US, Dax Shepard.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Miss Vicky, we had another person
Yes.
pretended he had fun on our podcast. We always appreciate that from our guests.
It was
I
a
really
great time.
enjoyed myself.
Yeah. We
So-
got two more, so we got to find some enjoyment somewhere.
That's right.
That's right.
By then we'll be in the mid 60s because we just keep coming up with more and more and more. You know, in your future, you can look forward to questions such as, "What is your Mount Rushmore of candy?" And we have other things.
So random.
Listen, how many questions can I come up with just on racing? But anyway, so if people want to see what you're doing, where would they go? And if people want to find out more about Club Spec, just refresh them because they were driving and I didn't want them pulling over and writing things down.
Of course.
Where would they go?
For me, I am the.daily.racer on Instagram and YouTube. There's no action for anybody there. That's just who I am and what I'm doing. If you want to learn about Club Spec or race experience, which we also have to talk about, or anything like that, SCCA.com. Club Spec specifically is SCCA.com/Club Spec. And well, Bill, we're working every day to make the website easier to look at. So
Until I get a Rosetta Stone, I'm not coming in anymore.
we'll see what we can do.
All right, very well. Until I figure out what an ITB QR7 code car is /1, you know, it wouldn't be so bad if they used words sometimes and not just letters, because, you know, you're one step away from the government. And the only thing they do different is they'll come up with an acronym and then they'll pronounce it like it's a word. I'm like, that does not spell that. What I'm saying.
We could do that though.
We're in ITB now. What? Who? Anyway, we always love having you on. We thank Hayward for inviting you on. And Club Spec sounds like so much fun. I think we should go get one, Miss Vicky.
It's
Yeah.
a fun time.
That's
She said
always a
yes.
good time.
She said yes.
I heard it. I heard
She
it.
said yes.
You said yes.
Very
Club
nice.
Spec Garage
Have a
Heroes Club
Miata.
Spec incoming.
I'll bring it.
That's right. That's the wrong kind of Miata, my dear.
Oh, okay.
That's true. We can, but listen, you can have that one in orange too.
Hmm. We know what color that is. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for coming on. It was a great time. We had a good time.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, this was fun. It's a good time.